Right, with this presentation, we're going to look at physical development throughout the lifespan. So this is going to be one of those screencasts where we're looking at all the major changes that experience. Obviously, when we're looking at physical development, a lot of the physical development will happen in childhood, adolescence, whereas in adulthood, we're really going to be talking about, like, say, the deterioration of some of these skills, cells, growth, things like that. So when we look at developmental psychology, basically all of our major schools of thought, like your cognitive, your behavioral, your neuroscience, all have developmental psychologists. Basically, if you're a neuroscience developmental psychologist, all of the cognitive skill changes you're going to study are going to be due to like physical brain changes. Whereas if you're a cognitive psychologist, you're just going to be looking at the development of the skill itself. But basically, you're looking at the physical growth or change, the social growth or change, or the cognitive growth or change of individuals from womb to tomb. So basically, we're looking at from birth till death. When we look at the processes of development, the first process of development we look at is what we call maturation. And this is basically the biological, orderly growth that happens. So it can be behavior, it can be physical skills, but basically, maturation is going to set the order of development, whereas the environment, the nurture, is going to set how quickly it happens. So when you look at maturation, like motor development, everybody who has proper motor development sat, crawled, walked, then ran. They didn't do this in any opposite order. Now, when we look at the idea of, say, how the experience in the environment adjusted, in countries where there's a lack of automobile or foot, walking is their main form of transportation, those children will learn to walk 2 to 3 months earlier than a child born in America. Just because obviously the skills, the muscle development, they're going to need to do that sooner. So there we have the experience of the environment dictating the speed in which this occurs. The second one we look at is habituation. This is going to show that the child or the person or the human is experiencing less responsiveness to repeated stimuli. So a child, when it first hears a cell phone ring, it may be startled. The second or third time, it's not as startled. The fourth or fifth, doesn't even react. Basically, what this is going to show us is that the organism is learning and forming memory. So now we have brain development, and then we have the development, the order. So this is the order step by step. It's going to be programmed into you, and then the nurture, the environment, is going to adjust it. And habituation, that's just going to show us that the child is learning and forming memories. So when we look at development, this is going to begin at conception. Main thing to remember here are the order of these stages. So you have your zygote, which is going to be highlighted by your rapid cell development, your embryo, which is where we develop into the human organism, and then the fetus, 9 weeks to birth, further develop into the human organism that we're going to be born with. Now, when we look at the problem with prenatal development would be our teratogens or teratogens. These are any type of chemicals, viruses that can harm or hurt the fetus and embryo development. Notice we didn't include the zygote there. Main reason would probably be because if a expecting mother interacts with teratogens during the zygote stage, the development will just cease. Like they will experience usually a miscarriage there. So this can be nicotine, alcohol, other illegal drugs, and can be over-the-counter drugs. Like if a expecting mother gets a cold, just to be very careful what type of medicine she can take, if any. That's because it can hurt the embryo and the fetus. So when we look at the abilities of newborns, so here we have some skills that the newborns are going to be born to know. So these are going to be programmed in their hardwire. Reading reflex, you touch a baby's cheek, it turns towards a touch with its mouth open. This enables them to locate the nipple or food. The Moro reflex, this is a startle reflex. When the baby is startled, they will fling and extend a stretch to make themselves bigger and then curl back in for protection. We know it's a survival reflex. Obviously, it's probably from our early human development when you're talking in terms of evolution. But it's probably going to help us bond with the caregiver because we'll seek out that. The Babinski reflex, when you stimulate the sole of the foot, the big toe will extend. They'll stretch their toes out away from the touch. This is just going to show us proper neurological function. So if like a child is born without the Babinski reflex, that can show or predict some type of developmental disorders, including but not limited to like autism spectrum disorder. So those are the skills that we will be born with. When we look at the infancy and brain development, although you're not going to develop new brain cells after birth, what will happen is the brain cells you have will begin to form these networks, and that will make the brain more efficient. So if we look at this picture here, here you have the birth of the neural networks, 3 months of the neural networks, and then 15 months you have a big burst. And part of that is because you're learning to walk, you're learning to talk at this point, so your environment is getting bigger. So basically when you look at these, whenever you form new experiences or form new skills, you're going to develop new neural networks. So when we look at the changes in the environment, new experience, those are going to create these experiences. Now when we look at infants and memory, conscious memory is not usually going to begin to form until about 3.5. And really what the reason this is happening is because our association areas are not fully developed. And our preverbal memories that are formed before 3.5 are going to almost be lost within the neural networks of the brain. Because at 3.5, you've mastered a lot of the rules of language, so your language is going to dominate your communication and your storage of memory. So why you don't have a lot of memories before 3.5 is because the software basically updated. It'd be like trying to use, like your preverbal memories, you'd be trying to fit a floppy disk into your iPad. Not going to work. Those two forms are not going to cooperate or work together. So you probably do have preconscious memories or preverbal memories, but they're not going to be easily transformed into consciousless recallable memories. What we call this is going to be known, this lack of memory before 3.5, so we call infantile amnesia. And then as the cerebral cortex develops, speech develops, and this will allow us to experience what we call conscious memory. When we look at adolescent physical development, puberty or sexual maturation, spermarchy and menarchy for males and females, basically that's just going to mean you can reproduce at this point. And so we'll have the development of primary sexual characteristics. These are directly involved in reproduction. And our secondary sexual characteristics, those are not involved in reproduction. Like the deepening of a male's voice would be a secondary sexual characteristic. Now when we look at brain structure of the adolescent, this is going to be highlighted by what we call the use it or lose it. Basically what's going to happen is your brain neural network capacity is starting to fill up. So now what the brain is going to start to do, instead of absorbing all information and learning very quickly like a sponge like you would in infancy and childhood, now your brain is going to focus on what it likes, what it's good at, and what it enjoys. So our unused neural connections, those are going to be lost to make room for other more efficient pathways. Like if you don't practice your Spanish after a year outside of the class, you're going to use it, you're going to lose it because you don't practice it. So things that you repeat, things that you enjoy, things that you do again and again, classes that you're successful in, you're going to have more of a focus on that. So the brain will become more efficient instead of learning everything. And so this is where we actually look at maturity also. So the frontal cortex here during adolescence, you're going to start to develop myelin sheath, and then that's going to make this neural connection, this processing center, just as fast as the amygdala. So when we look at maturity, a teenager with more maturity, we call them more mature, they're going to have more myelin sheath developed in their frontal cortex soon. Now, when we look at adulthood, physical and sensory abilities will peak around your mid-20s. You'll first start to see a big decline in the 50s, and then a huge rapid decline in the 70s. Females around 50, they're going to go through menopause. The natural ending of a woman's ability to reproduce causes the decrease in estrogen. Males do not experience a decrease in fertility. They experience a gradual decline in testosterone. So this is going to cause men to have a harder time getting old. So women or females are going to age more gracefully than men. Because this testosterone, this is what makes us men. And so when we start to lose that edge, that testosterone, depression, impotence, insomnia, irritability can start to develop. That's very problematic as we get older. Now, when we look at the brain development, the main type of brain development we're going to start to see, especially in elderly adulthood, is going to be what we call dementia. Dementia is the loss of brain function. It's associated mostly with Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is going to be that progressive, irreversible brain disorder, and it's going to be caused by deterioration of memory, language, and physical function. Basically, the brain, the neural networks, the synaptic gap, there's going to be these plaques and protein tangles. They're going to block the functioning or the communication of the neuron, which is going to cause it to die. This is usually going to run its course in about 5 to 20 years. The neurons that produce acetylcholine are the ones that are mainly attacked, and that's going to be associated with your short-term memory. So that's why they start to lose current experiences first, and they start to kind of go back in time to where they're younger. That's because the acetylcholine neurons are starting to die off. Here would be an Alzheimer's brain advance, so you can see where the deterioration, that as those plaques and tangles develop, the brain loses mass. There you have your healthy brain. And that's it.